Hi everyone. So I wanted to tell you a little story and share a little movement practice with you today. So this weekend I got the privilege to visit my family, including my sister and her family. My nephew is like this amazing kid who's just growing into a little man, and I love hanging out with him. And my niece is 2.5. And I was carrying my niece down the stairs and I landed on a shoe and I flipped my ankle. She's okay, and otherwise I'm okay, but I'm stuck with this for a while. I'm on the floor for a while. And I was thinking about all that I preach to my clients and to my loved ones about making sure you rest fully, especially with soft tissue injuries, which I have some of. I might have some bone injuries, but that's another story. Either way, rest becomes this huge, important thing, a big component. And so while I'm resting, I also know I can move my body. I can move my body in ways that support my healing process, because what I do in the other parts is going to be rejuvenating, getting the blood circulated, getting the lymph flowing through me so that I am clearing any toxins. So just in case you find yourself in a situation where you can't really work with your foot, here is a short little movement practice for you. This is all with feet off the ground. A lot of core work, a lot of hip work. So here we go. So coming down to the ground on your back, I'm going to bring my feet up. So I can't really put any weight on this guy, so I'm just going to have both knees come in. I'm going to take a moment just to settle my weight and let my knees fall back toward my heart and rock side to side. Taking a deep breath in and out. Then I'm going to put both hands, one on each knee, and I'm going to circle around in a big circle. The pelvis is going to be tilting a little bit to each side as my knees move. I'll do 3 or 4 and then reverse to the other side. Really massaging the back of my pelvis into the floor. And after 3 or 4 of those on each side, I'm going to take my knees and separate them and make circles so that they're moving away from each other and toward each other. 3 or 4 times. I'm trying to do this with really passive muscles in my hips. Reversing when you're ready. Doing a lot less with your hip flexors and a lot more with your arms. And then just bringing the legs in. Now, if you're like me, you've got a sore, tender ankle, you're only going to do this really gently, but we're going to try and reach the heel out so that I'm flexing my ankle. I'm not doing very much on this one, but my other one, I really want to get moving. So because I'm putting more weight on this one. So maybe you do one at a time, 5 or 6 on each foot, flex and then extend. Here, this is what I'm doing. And then on this one, I'm going to go a little slower and not do as many. Just a little flex, reach through the heel, and then return. Maybe I'll just do 3 on that side. I really don't want to go to any pain. So if you feel any pain, don't do it. If you're not having any injury, you can still do this workout. It's great. So I'm going to hold on to my left leg. I'm going to extend the right leg out and fold it back in. I'm going to do that 8 times. Reaching out and in. Lengthening the front of your hip and then folding in. One more. And then bring that in other side. So this side I don't have to put a lot of weight. I can't put a lot of weight on the foot. So I'm going to really be gentle there. But I'm really wanting to find this length and then this fold in the hip socket, because one leg is doing a lot of the weight bearing and the other leg is not doing anything. So we want to get this leg also to stay active and not be too weak at the end of the healing process. After 8, bring it in. Deep breath. I'm going to keep my legs in and reach my arms low by the floor. I'm just going to hold this pose and I'll just focus on the length of my spine. If this is too much work for you, you might put your feet up on the wall or on a couch so you can rest your shins, and this will relax the hip socket. And if it feels okay, I'm just letting the legs fall in toward me, reaching my arms long, nice long spine. Deep breath. And I'm going to feel that my exhale begins with a pelvic floor engagement. So I'm hugging the bones of my pelvic floor together and feeling the belly sink toward the spine, and then feeling my neck lengthen. The roof of my mouth is rising. Inhale, and I'm going to feel the widening of the body, the torso. And do it again. First, engaging the pelvic floor. Then the belly, and then I'm going to lengthen the neck and lift the pelvic floor. One more time, inhale. And exhale. And if you're not familiar with pelvic floor work, I have a video all about how to engage the pelvic floor called Why Kegels Won't Cut It. So look for that on my IGTV. So we've done this. We're going to raise the arms up to the ceiling and stretch them overhead. I'm just going to rest my chest, the back of my chest on the floor, and then raise the arms up and repeat. Oh, letting my arms stretch. I've been doing a lot of holding of my body up, or not doing anything, just laying on the couch. So then I'm going to circle. Arms are going to go overhead and out. 1, 2, 3, and then reverse, going down and out and overhead. 1, 2, resting my chest on the floor. 3, and then I'm going to bring my arms down, take a deep breath. Find that pelvic floor and belly engagement, and lengthening the neck, tip the chin, and round up toward your knees. My nose, my forehead coming toward my knees, my hands reaching forward. Good, deep breath. Roll back down. Do that 2 more times on your own timing. Finding the breath, then finding the folding over yourself. Hold for that breath before coming back. 1 more time. Rolling back down. So I'm going to bring the feet up. They were hanging down. I'm going to bring them up a little bit. And I'm going to put the hands on my hips. So I'm going to rock the pelvis this way, which is going to arch off my back, and my feet are going to go further away from me. And then I'm going to roll back. If I think my pelvis like a wheel, I'm going to roll backward. That's going to bring my knees closer. Not because I'm actually moving from my knees, but because I'm moving my pelvis, right? And then the whole thing from pelvis to foot is making that movement. So I'm going to go back and forth 3 or 4 times. At the same time, I don't want to collapse my neck here and let everything fall. So I'm going to keep lengthening up through the neck and the roof of the mouth as I move the lower half of me. 3 or 4 times is good. And then coming back to a centered place, so I'm not too far forward or too far back. My knees feel like they're in a good place on my hips, not clenching here in the hips. Now I'm going to take my hands to the hip bones, and one side is going to go up toward my ear, the other one's going to go down toward my foot, and it's going to turn my knees a little bit toward that lengthened side, and my feet a little bit toward the short side. And then I'm going to go the other way. So my hands are on my hips. I can feel one side going down, the other side coming up, and then back and forth. And I don't know if you can see on the video, but my feet are going toward you and then away from you. My knees are pretty much the same. I'm not letting them go side to side. So this is really my waist, one side lengthening, the other side shortening, and I'm really trying to stay neutral or center on my pelvis. Back and forth we go 3 or 4 times, but it should feel pretty good in your waistline, especially if you've been sitting for a long time. And then just come back to center, arms by your side. One leg is gonna slide a little further away. So if I lower this leg, you can see it's just like slightly further away from my belly button. The other side stays in. And then I'm just gonna glide them back and forth like that. I'm not fully straightening, but I'm getting this little glide. At the same time, I'm wanting to think about the pelvic floor and the low belly and the neck, all of that still staying connected to the floor. So I'm not letting everything collapse and fall forward. So I've got that nice strength in my center as I just kind of rock one knee away from me and the other toward. We'll do about 10 rounds. Can you keep breathing? 2 more. And then bring the knees in. If you need a little circle or a little rocking of the legs, maybe a little twist, do whatever feels good. Now we're gonna roll to our side. Stack your bones on top of each other. I've got my knees in that same position, knees bent, just in line with my belly button, and then the feet are underneath my knees in a 90-degree angle. And I'm just gonna feel the ground below, letting my body rest here, not doing anything for a moment. And then I'm gonna pick up this top leg. So this leg isn't gonna change shape, but I'm just gonna lift it up and down. So we're strengthening these outer hip muscles. This is the leg that I'm standing on and hopping on a lot. So I wanna really feel powerful here in these outer hips. So you're gonna do about 8 of these. It's hard for me to count while I talk to you, but let's say we've done 8. And now I'm gonna keep the thigh here, but circle it. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then reverse. 1. These I love, hate. 3, 4, really moving in the hip socket, just like we did on our back. And then you're gonna lower. If that feels kind of intense, shake out the muscle that was just working. And then we're gonna do what's called clamshells, where we're gonna keep the feet together, but we're gonna open the knees, and not doing it from my pelvis or from my spine, but really from where the leg and the pelvis meet at the hip joint. So right here, we're gonna feel that spinning of the leg in the socket. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, last one, 8. Down, deep breath. Maybe find that lift, that engagement of the pelvic floor and the hugging of the belly, the length of the neck as we lift the leg up again. Then we're gonna straighten the leg. I brought the foot back so it's in line with my hip and my head. And then the knee comes forward again for 2, for 3. I'm swinging. I am allowing this hip to be kind of relaxed and flexible, but I'm not letting my leg drop. 3 more times. Last one, we're gonna keep the leg out. Lift. So I'm bringing it above the hip and then down toward the floor. I'm even gonna let it drop and stretch out this outer hip because I've been working a lot on this side. So again, if you have an injury and you're more one-sided, you gotta get that side that's been working a lot, gotta get it to release. Good. Keep going. Last one. Let it drop, take a stretch here, and then I'm gonna raise that arm up and stretch the whole side of my body. And I'm gonna take the top side of my body and roll it open to the ceiling, opening up onto my back, and let the other leg straighten. And just feel the difference between your two sides. We've done a lot on that one side. So now, let's roll around to the other side. Bending your knees and lying down. So we'll do the exact same thing on this other side. It might feel different though. So let's see what happens. Take a breath. We're gonna lift the top leg and down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold. Circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Reversing for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Maybe give yourself a tap. We go down to clamshells. Rotate and down without moving your waist. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Ooh, I can really feel that burn right in here. I hope you are too. Just below this bone here at the top of the leg, the greater trochanter it's called. Just below that, that's where I'm feeling that work. That's where I want you to feel it. We're gonna lift up the leg again and straighten it. So we swing in and down, in and down, in and down. So I am getting a nice flow and swing here, but I'm also trying to keep everything else really quiet, really lengthened. So after 8, I'm going to call this 8, straighten the leg underneath you. It is not forward of me, but it's right in line with my torso. And we go up and down. Now this is my injured side. I haven't been really working this, so this feels a little harder to do right off the bat. Some fatigue. I'm just going to keep going, keep smiling, keep breathing, keep lengthening my neck. After 8, I'm going to let that drop. Take that bit of a stretch here. Raise my arm, add to it with the upper body. I'm even going to grab this arm, my bottom arm. And let's roll open onto your back. Resting here for a minute. It can feel so good to pause and not do anything in between exercises. I highly recommend. So roll onto your stomach. And we're just gonna do some work for the upper back here. So again, if you're laid up like me, we're probably rounded over. So doing some extension work is gonna feel nice. My arms are 90 degrees on either side of my body. And I'm just gonna press down into the floor, bring my forehead down. And then I'm gonna tip the head, tip the ribs, press into the hands, take a little stretch. Ooh, I'm so tight. And then roll forward and down. I'm just gonna repeat that a few times. So as I come up, my back body is shortening, the front body is lengthening. So I'm gonna take a pause and breathe into that length. Because it's extreme, it feels really intense. Now as I come down, I'm gonna shorten the front body and lengthen through the back body. And really, really enjoy that length up the back. Let's do it one more time. Find that extension, going up as high as you feel good without collapsing into the lower back. So I'm really actually drawing up through the front body. I'm going to turn my head to the right and the left just to create some variation in this extension. And then I'm going to lengthen to come back down. And I'm going to come on up to hands and knees. I'll just do a little rounding and arching of the spine. And I'm gonna then come to sitting. I'm gonna bring one leg, so I'm gonna start with my injured leg. I'm gonna bring that on top of the other knee that's bent. I'm gonna have my hands behind my back with fingers pointing forward toward my feet. And I'm just gonna, again, find this extension. So the arms push, my heart swings up toward my head and opens the front body, and I'm bringing my chest, my belly toward my shin, and I'm getting a nice stretch on what's the outer hip on the other side of my body. So hold for a few breaths. And then you can release that when it feels good. This is my injured side, so I'm gonna keep it off the ground, or I could put it on top of you can't see me, but I can put it on top of a chair really lightly, just kind of up to you. But I can still feel a stretch here, just a little more active. Can release that when you wish. I'm just gonna come onto my forearms here and do like a little jiggle of my shins. My knee has been a little bit sore because I've been standing on it. Yeah, and then relax. You can do anything else that you want. But I hope that was helpful, and I'm sending you all a lot of love. I hope that if you, if and when you find yourself in an injury, you take some joy in a simple, short practice like this. All right, lots of love.